Gonna be testing all 5 GT4 cars here at the Las Vegas Roval. Pretty technical, but also quick track, so thought it would be a good testing ground. But I'm gonna start off going over each car and talking about what I kind of think of it, and then at the end I'm gonna have a side-by-side with all 5 of them on their fastest lap and talk about it overall, what car I think is the best. But first off, I'm gonna do each car kind of by itself. So if you want to see whatever car you're looking at or the one that you have, what I think of it and kind of tested, yeah, you can kind of skip and go check them out, each one. But yeah, we'll just jump right into it. Just wanted to show this before we get started. I ran all these on the sprint, open, low downforce, and lowered the fuel to 8.5. So it's on the same setup, made a few different changes per car because that's what iRacing did, but it's the same base setup that iRacing gives you, and I lowered the gallons to 8.5, so it's kind of even for whatever race you're doing, some longer races or some sprint races, kind of average fuel. So all gallons, cars, setups, everything is equal. All right, starting out, got the Aston Martin. We'll see the lap kind of in the background, but first I want to talk about how it drove. It's pretty slickery, like you'll see right here. I gotta wiggle the wheel a lot there, kind of went off track, but you'll see heading into the infield once again, it's got a weird slide to it. The track control holds it, but it definitely slows you down a lot. This was one of the faster ones down the straightaway, I think, 141 as we hit the line there. So I believe on mile an hour it is one of the quicker in a straight line. It definitely sounds nice, but as you can see in the bottom right with the lap time, ran 4 laps in each car, and this one I could only manage a 16.4, which was the slowest. So problem with it there, as you saw, just kind of that weird twitch, and I don't know how I felt about it. Just kind of weird how it drives. It's got good turn in, good overall. It just got that weird wiggle on exit, and it's hard to put the power down and keep momentum up for this track. But yeah, Aston Martin ranked number 5 in my opinion, at least on speed. So it did have the slowest lap time with the 16.487. So not the lap time that you'd think, but it's quick in a straight line, or it's pretty decent in a straight line, just not got the overall turn, and it wiggles on exit, and it's pretty unstable during kind of high speed corners, and low speed doesn't have great turn. Next up is going to be the Porsche. This is completely opposite of what I thought before. I thought it was always the best in a straight line or the quickest on the straightaway, and as we get to the backstretch, pretty much every car hits 156, 157. This hits 154, 55 maybe. So that, yeah, not great. One thing with this thing, it doesn't have the turn in. It has definitely the worst turn in as everything else, and it has kind of the worst bumps with everything. If you're a curb hopper, don't go to run this thing. This thing, you hit a bump and it throws you around, and it really isn't great. This thing doesn't have the best brakes. It's got okay brakes, so that is better than the Aston. The Aston really didn't have great brakes, but the Porsche, it's got pretty decent brakes. Obviously rear engine, so it does drive a little bit different, which I think is part of the hopping deal, but you can see right here how it kind of rolls around. But lap time wise, ended up running a 16.372, so about a tenth quicker than the Aston Martin. So on that scale, it's a little bit better, but yeah, it's definitely not great. Wasn't too bad on consistency wise on lap time, but it definitely just couldn't really find the speed out of it in during the run and stuff. So people could probably run it a little bit better, a little bit quicker, but I know I kind of struggle with it. So definitely not got great top end, and a little bit slow on the corners. Not a car that for your first GT4 car to jump into and run. It's not the beginner GT4 car, we'll say that. Alrighty, up for the Mercedes now. One thing, this was my first few laps in it, so was still trying to get used to it. It drives the most different than all the other ones. The other ones are comparable, this one different. First thing I noticed when I jumped into it, you actually had to use the clutch to take off, which all the other ones don't. But this one drives the most like a GT3 car. The way it kind of slides, it's a little slidey, so obviously you can mess with traction control and all that and kind of adjust that, but it is definitely the most slidey, like slidey car, just out of the box. So that is one thing about it. It's about average on top speed. You'll see we hit 156 right here, which a little bit quicker than the two previous cars. But yeah, it's not bad on that part. The ABS and traction control feels like it's the least on every other car, which is still adjustable, but like there I went full brake or pretty close to it, and it kind of went straight for a second. So you got to be careful with this one. You hit full brake, it'll slow down. Lap time wise, it wasn't too bad. It didn't slow down much. Ran at 0.58 with it, so it's pretty good. Still in the O's. We're getting pretty close on the times now, so it's not way far off, but you see still a little wiggle. Still having to drive it a little bit, but not too bad on the lap time. Drives the most like a GT3 car, so if you are used to driving GT3s, wouldn't be a bad option. But for your first kind of road car, would suggest one of the other ones, which you will see right here. So into the top two now, we'll see what I thought was the best. In the second spot, it's gonna be the BMW. This was the first one I ever bought when iRacing had this car as its own class. It was like quick 12-minute races, and I love that series. That's how I got to, that was my D class, getting out of D class for road. But this thing, fastest in a straight line by a mile. It pretty weird gearing and long gears, so that could kind of throw you off. But it is really stable. You can get on it whenever. It won't ever slip or do anything like that. It's got really good top speed. It is the fastest one in a straight line at the end of the straightaway that we got here. So you'll see we hit 157, which is the best in a straight line. In the bottom right, you can see we ran a 023. It is not red because I accidentally ran one more lap after this, and this was the first car tested, so I didn't know how many laps I was going to do. But want to do a 4-lap average, so that was the 4-lap average. It's quick once you kind of get it down, but you can see really early on throttle was wide open. So yeah, I think it'll get better each run. It is the biggest car, so that's another way that you can kind of defend with it. But yeah, I love this thing. That's why I put it in the P number 2 spot. It looks really good. I like the look of the BMW, and all in all, it's a good car. It's nice and planted. No issues with it. The only thing I could think of, it does feel the heaviest, like on brakes. I don't think it has probably the second worst brakes after the Aston. But you definitely feel the weight in this thing. So yeah, that's why it's in the number 2 spot. Last but not least, at the number 1 spot, the McLaren. This thing is amazing to drive. I love this thing. It is so planted. It turns in. It has the best turn in, best brakes. It slows down super quick, as you'll see on the back straightaway. You can get on it whenever. It's not going to spin tires. This thing is by far the best car, by a long shot. It drives the best. It feels the lightest, and still it doesn't spin tires or anything. You can get on it whenever. It is so planted. Kind of the only flaw with it is it's not got the greatest top end. We only hit 153 down the back straightaway as the BMW, or 153, 154 maybe. But BMW was doing 157. So that is kind of the only flaw with it. 154 you saw. So not too far off. Most tracks aren't going to have that long of a straightaway, so it's not going to matter that much. But for this track that I tested, I wanted to have a straightaway. So that is really the only flaw with it. It's just got average top speed. But other than that, it turns. It is really quick throughout it. As you can see in the bottom right with the lap time right here, it ran a 15.911. So it's almost it's a tenth quicker than the BMW, which had the second fastest lap time. So it's a tenth quicker than that, and it's it's lights out. Like this thing is the easiest drive. It's the quickest. It's the easiest just to jump in and run for your first road car, if that's what you're thinking of. Yeah, it's amazing. So this thing gonna be at my #1 spot. Now on to the 5x5 wide test deal with all the lap times. So up for that now, but McLaren ends up P1. Alrighty, got him in, got all 5 of them in an X pattern. Got the McLaren in the center, as I think it is the best one. BMW in the bottom right, Mercedes in the bottom left, Porsche in the top right, then Aston Martin in the top left. But I do think the McLaren is the best one. It is the fastest one, at least for my driving style. Obviously, driving styles are going to matter. But just for me, I think it turns the best. And just overall is the best. BMW could probably be quicker. Just kind of depends on the track. It's got the best top end, but it just kind of differs. Mercedes in third. Not too bad of a car. If you like GT3s or drive GT3s and want to get into GT4s, then I'd say run that. It's pretty easy to drive and try to get lap time out of. But the Porsche and Aston, I would try to stay away from. It's hard to get lap time out of them, at least on that base setup. Obviously, the same setup and base setup, so still adjustments can be made. But yeah, McLaren, I think, tops them all. But if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe. Took me a while to make this one, with driving all the laps and editing it and putting it all together. So hopefully this is able to help someone make the choice on what they would like to buy or what one they want to race with. But if you enjoyed it or if it helped you out, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll be doing more, try to do every class in iRacing. So yeah, first one gonna be GT4s. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.